I'm about to do an experiment using a kiddie pool, a survival suit, and 210 bottles of water. What we're trying to show is what the flotation capability of a survival suit is. This particular survival suit is a universal, I think it's an Imperial, that I bought online. It's an old used one, but it's what we used to wear up when I fished up in the Bering Sea and up around Kodiak. Anyway, this suit is rated for a person of 110 to 130 pounds. So what I figured was 130 pounds was probably how much flotation this suit has. If you were to put 330 pounds of rocks into this suit, it would probably sink. So in principle, you should be able to sink a survival suit, and what I'm trying to figure out is at what capacity, or putting things in the survival suit, how can I sink it? And I'm going to try to sink it in this pool. If that doesn't work, I'm going to go into a full-size pool and do it. So what I'm trying to simulate is a 240-pound person in the suit first. And how I'm going to do that is I have 6 35 packs of bottled water. 16.9 ounces are the bottle capacities. I weighed a 16.9 ounce bottle, and it weighs 1.165 pounds, so just over a pound per bottle. So there are 210 bottles of water there at 1.165 pounds a piece. You multiply that, and that would be 244.65 pounds. So what I'm going to do is stuff all 210 bottles of water into this survival suit, arms, legs, whatever, and they should fit, because that's the equivalent of a 240-pound guy, and this suit's rated for 330. So the volume should be there. The volume of water is a little bit more than the volume of a human, but not that much, so it should be equivalent. So once I get the 245 pounds worth of bottled water in there, I want to fill the pool up and see how much flotation is left. Well, this thing's rated for 330 pounds, and I've got 240, so there's 240 pounds worth of water in there, so it should have 90 pounds of flotation. So 90 pounds of flotation if a pound of water weighs 8.3 pounds, 1 pound of water weighs 8.3 pounds, there's 90 pounds of flotation there, so I should be able to add 11 gallons of water, which would be the weight of that extra 90 pounds, and I'm up to the weight capacity of that suit, flotation capacity. So the suit should be submerged somewhat by all of those bottles of water, and then the addition of 10 or 11 extra gallons of water because of their weight. What I'm trying to figure out is, if a survival suit has a fairly heavy guy in it, and then they ship in water into the suit, does it cause the suit to sink, or at least be submerged enough where swells, for example, would pull the person in the suit underwater enough to drown them? And I do the website alaskashipwreck.com, and have been studying Alaska shipwrecks for the last 40 or 50 years, and have run across instances where people drown in survival suits in circumstances where they should still be alive. And one example was a friend of mine that drowned, was found deceased and drowned in a survival suit 2 hours after he jumped into the water. And he should have been able to last in the water days, not hours. So what I'm trying to figure out is there the possibility that a survival suit could actually, when waterlogged, full of water, could actually cause your demise? And so I'm probably way out in left field, but I'm going to check it out anyway, because it seems logical that once you fill that suit up with enough weight, it's going to sink. And so if you ship in the weight with water, I mean, I don't care if it's water, rocks, or gold, it's still going to sink you, just like it'd sink a boat. And so I'm trying to do those experiments because I've never seen anything done by the manufacturers to prove up on this particular point. And if there is a danger of shipping in water, if a heavy person's in a suit and ships in enough water, they can become submerged. That needs to be put on as a warning on the suit. So anyway, next I'll start filling the arms, legs, everything else full of bottles of water. I should be able to get 210 of them in there. And for the purpose of sealing the suit, I've actually bought a big cantaloupe to stick in the head. And then if you look on the suit itself, I put a valve, an excess port, so that I can first burp air out of there once I start filling it up with water. But also I can control the volume of water going in. Like I'll put in a couple gallons at a time and show what the suit does. I'll have the pool full, so once I get all that water in there. Anyway, it's an experiment. It's the first of several, probably. I'll probably end up doing this in a full-size pool, but I want to see what goes on with this particular experiment. It is about June the 8th, 2022, and I'm in Palm Coast, Florida. You can hear the heat bugs in the background because it's supposed to get up above 90 today. That's it. Just to reiterate where we are, this is Captain Warren Good in Palm Coast, Florida. This is a universal survival suit. I believe this one is an Imperial. It's designed and specifies inside that it'll handle a person from 110 to 330 pounds. So what I'm trying to do is simulate a large person occupying this suit to show what the flotation is. Anyway, that's why the suit looks a little funky and bumpy. I have stuffed 210 bottles of water. And here's the specifics. I stuffed 210 bottles of water, each weighing just over a pound. So there's 244 pounds worth of water stuffed in the arms, legs, and belly of this immersion suit or flotation suit, survival suit. Anyway, what I'm trying to show is that you get a large person in a survival suit and then introduce water, and that's why there's a valve with a funnel going down into the suit. I'm going to fill this pool now, and that survival suit with that 240 pounds worth of bottled water in it should float just fine. But if you think about it, a survival suit will hold quite a lot of water, and 40 gallons just 40 gallons of water would weigh 332 pounds, which is more than this suit is supposed to hold. And it looks like one of these suits probably holds 50 or 60 gallons if you think about the size of a 55-gallon drum. And so what I'm trying to show is that if you put a big guy in a survival suit, and this fella here, by the way, I stuffed him, looks kind of portly, and I had a difficulty zipping up the zipper, which kind of makes sense. The legs, if you got skinny legs, skinny arms, and a big midriff, you have difficulty getting into the survival suit. And unfortunately, when you get into the water, if you haven't completely sealed the suit, if you haven't got your hood up yet or the zipper's not all the way up, you're going to ship water into particularly the legs, which if you've got skinny legs, there's plenty of room in there for more water. So what I'm thinking is with this much bottled water, that's 240 pounds of weight, and you only have to add 10 more gallons of water, which a gallon of water is 8.3 pounds, so that's 83 pounds. And so 10 more, that puts the suit up to its capability, and I'm thinking that it's possible you can sink a survival suit with a heavy person in it by adding water into the suit. So I don't know if that's true or not, but this is the experiment I came up with to try to simulate a heavy fella in a survival suit and add water into the survival suit. So 240, if I can put 100 pounds of water in there, which isn't that many gallons, it's only 12 gallons or so, 12 and a half. It should just about sink the survival suit. Initially, I'm sure the legs are going to float because they got fewer bottles in them, which simulates skinny legs and a fat midriff. legs and arms will probably float. But anyway, I'm going to start filling this pool up here in a little bit. Just a point to note is I stuck a cantaloupe into the head, which is an additional 6 pounds. So what is that? That's 244 pounds is the water, and the 6 pounds is the cantaloupe. So that's basically a 250-pound guy in there. Anyway, we'll start filling the pool up and do some more filming in just a little bit. Captain Warren Good, Palm Coast, Florida, June 9th, 2022. There you have it. So the water is about halfway up on the legs of the 240-pound man, or 250-pound man, counting his head. I put a flotation device under the head so that no water would go in the face mask. Point to note is that halfway up the suit, and you can see the water coming up halfway up the suit, the legs are already beginning to float at the feet because of the amount of air probably that's in there between all of those bottles of water. And then the arms are beginning to float, but the body itself, the water is really only about a third of the way up the body. So it's firmly planted on the concrete under this pool right now. Anyway, that's where we are. We'll keep filling. We have about 6 inches of water now in our simulation, and with 210 bottles of water weighing about 245 pounds and a cantaloupe in the head totaling 250 pounds in a 110 to 330 pound survival suit. Anyway, I'm going to show you that already the legs are floating, and it appears the body is almost floating. I've got the head propped up so we can move this guy. I can see he's still touching the ground, but we've got a lot of flotation, more than I would have expected. So probably because there's a lot of air in the suit, but we'll find out. The 250-pound bottled water guy in the survival suit is actually floating very well, and you can see how much freeboard he has in his legs, in his body there, and in his arms. I've had to put flotation under his head, although that probably might float too for all I know. But I'm not sure if it's floating because of the air that's trapped inside of the suit or because of the actual flotation of the suit. If it's true, that means that suit will float maybe 500 pounds, not just 330, which that's the weight rating. But anyway, what we'll do is once this pool is full, I'm going to try to burp out all of the air in there and then get a picture of what the flotation is, and then I'll start introducing gallons of water through that pipe if they'll go in there. If not, I'll just maybe pick his head up and introduce it through the face mask, which is probably the normal way, or maybe even unzip him a little bit and see how much water will go in there. But I won't be able to meter it. Anyway, it's an ongoing experiment, but my guy floats pretty darn good. 250 pounds worth of weight in that suit, mostly in the form of 210 bottles of water and one cantaloupe. We'll see how this goes.